Welcome everyone. There we are. There's the right camera angle. It's so good to have you back in the studio with me again today. I am grateful to have you for the 144th episode of the Paint Party live stream, and excited to be with you. You may notice throughout the live stream that it's a little bit more quiet here in the Black Hills. Of course, as I say that, rumbling goes up and down Main Street, but the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally has completed here in the Black Hills. That's always kind of a bittersweet time. It means things are a lot more quiet, literally from one day to the next, from yesterday to today. A lot fewer motorcycles out on the road, a lot less congested traffic here on Main Street in our little town. But it also indicates kind of the beginning of the end of the tourist season, which means fall is right here and winter is right behind it. So we still have a few more weeks of warm weather, but it is cooler and a lot more pleasant. It's a little bit rainy the last few days, which is great. Keeps kind of the, I guess, potential for forest fires at bay. That's the expression I was looking for. But all that said, I'm glad to have you. I hope you had a great week. This is my Learn to Paint journey. So those of you who have been here before know how this works. Several years ago, I started teaching myself to paint here on YouTube or wherever you're watching us. It's syndicated across a few platforms. And you can participate in the live stream this evening on the comments wherever you are. I enjoy interacting with you, so feel free to make comments, ask questions as we go through the evening. Stay as long or as short a time as you have. Glad to have you. And we typically try to start a different painting every week. I usually keep these pretty small so that we can kind of get quite a bit of at least an underpainting done in the few minutes we have together, but that is the plan. So I appreciate you again joining me here, and as I said, you can feel free to participate wherever you are watching us. I think I froze up. Just a second here. You will hear my audio, but there we go. Oh, we're back. All right, sorry about that. Just some glitches in the Wi-Fi, I think, but we will get started. And yeah, you can participate in the comments wherever you're watching us. So let me switch cameras over here. I will turn you to this camera while I set up and explain what we're going to be doing this evening. So I am going to put my camera over here, my phone, onto the canvas or the easel so that you can see what I am painting. We'll get that set up and then I'll show you what we are doing. Welcome, welcome. I see a few more people popping in. I'm so glad to have you on the live stream this evening. Please feel free to shout out and say hello wherever you are watching. You can participate in the comments wherever you watch this live stream. So feel free to ask questions, make comments, make suggestions. I always enjoy having you on with me this evening, or any evening, really. All right, let's get started. If I can get this tied on. It's a lot cooler than it has been, so it's not as uncomfortable to put extra layers on. I always forget that in the summer that I'm painting essentially in the attic of my apartment. So let me show you first what I'm planning. Again, this is an image taken from right here in the Black Hills on a hike I went on recently. It's very similar in about kind of the same area of the trail where the painting we did last week was, but this is the stream going back. Instead of a path, it's a stream going back towards these trees. And I will probably do some additional different things with the clouds, but I'm not really sure. But I thought it would be fun to do something like this. So simple little, oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to put my palette here so you can kind of see what I am what I'm mixing, hopefully. There we go. And I'll put out some of this paint. Let me get some gloves on first so I just end up getting paint all over my hands. And I know there's artists that paint without gloves, and I mean, I started that way when I switched to oils, and so I've gotten used to it, but I don't understand how these people work with paints and don't get paint on their hands. Or maybe they do, and the actual oil paint, unless it's got like cadmium in it or something, it's fine to get on your, I mean, not fine, but it's not going to hurt you because it's just oil and pigment. But it is typically the solvents that are often used with oil paint that make people feel like it's a little more risky than, say, acrylic. So welcome. A few more people popping in. It's quiet. Last few weeks have been pretty quiet though in the gallery, so, or in the comments. But I'm always glad to have someone join me. All right, let's see. I'm going to put a little bit, because we'll be doing some sky, so we'll put a little bit of cerulean blue out there. I like to do that for my sky. But you don't need very much because it's a really powerful pigment. Now let's do a little, I know we will use the yellow ochre, so we'll put that out for sure. Not sure. We'll definitely do our that white is everywhere tonight. I don't know. I got it on my... Okay, I feel like I have the basics out. Probably need to put a little more burnt umber out. Just cause, why not? We know we're gonna use burnt umber and ultramarine blue. That's kind of my palette of choice for sure. I really should spend some time kind of exploring more variations of palette, but that would probably be a smart decision. Okay, now let's dive in and we'll put some, we will put some marks on. Let me just take one of these brushes and I'll switch my camera over. Here we go. This is where we'll be painting, so let me pull my stool over, get situated a little bit. Try not to bump the camera too much. All right, and we'll take a little bit of this burnt umber, as always, a little bit of solvent, and I'll just mix it over here. Just thin it with some odorless, I should call them not quite odorless mineral spirits. Okay, and we'll start to just draw this in. So, let's see. We want the tops of the trees to be at about this line. I like these being more in front. So let's do that. Let's adjust this a little bit. The composition a little bit, and we'll bring these out front. Because we are the artist and we can. Remember, you're looking down on this a little bit. Whoops. I just think it's a little more visually interesting. Then we'll put this kind of really fascinating piece of wood. What I want to do actually is I want to bring the stream this way a little bit. And then this will go, we'll say that's our fence line. We'll just bring it across. That way we have this composition driving back here. We have this over here, and it's kind of a... And then probably I'll do some... I think what I'll do is kind of do these... really kind of high. I guess we call them cumulus clouds, maybe. I don't remember from grade school, but these really tall, dramatic clouds. Let's kind of just see if we can give ourselves something to work with here. And they'll flatten out over here. I don't know. Welcome, those of you just joining us. So glad to have you. We're just sketching out the... We're just starting to sketch out the composition for this little sketch. So, think actually I like it more this way. So we'll just see if we can take that out of there. Who knows? I think it's more helps kind of balance out this so that this is coming kind of this way, this is coming this way. These are all, this keeps our eye from, we'll just put kind of, this keeps our eye from going off the corner there, off the corner there. I'm just putting in the suggestion of shadows so that I can there we go. This is and I don't know, honestly, even though I was there, I don't know what this dark kind of shapes were in the water, if they were rocks. I assume they were rocks, but it's just really fascinating to me. So, anywho. I want to give as much structure to this as possible. Okay, now let's start playing a little bit, y'all. Okay, I'm going to see what I can do. I think I'm going to take big brush and next biggest brush and do, hey there Anthony, thanks so much for popping in. Hey Miss Martin, thank you for joining. So glad to see you. All right, let's see if we can play with this a little bit, y'all. Let's take some white and blue, make us a good, and I'm gonna take a little bit, I'm gonna take a little bit of my number one medium, which is my thinnest medium. Because you'll remember, or you may I may have said it or you may have heard it somewhere. With oil paints, you want to go fat over lean, meaning more and more. If you're using an oil, you want more oil, more fat as you mix the medium with, but you never want to go over 25%. So I just, with this, like this little bit, I just do a dot or two and it smooths out the paint. And let's go in and try to begin to put in some. We'll have to do definitely 2 coats of this, because at least because my undercoat is that brown, but it is such a strong that red will show through, because the white is really translucent, but so is the, we'll take some this blue up in, so we'll do a pretty intense blue up in the upper sky, so we'll get kind of that real bright blue, and then we'll take it down and desaturate it a little bit. As we get further down, we'll take it into the lighter colors, because you're coming down towards the horizon, so you're looking through more of the, your eye is looking through more of the atmosphere, and so it's gonna be a lighter, less intense color, where if you go up here, it's going to be more do you hydrate while you paint? You mean me personally? Like, do I drink? I do usually if I'm painting. I drink water if that's what you're asking, but not on this live stream, because then I'd be running to the restroom, which is fine if but my restroom in my apartment is downstairs, so I don't drink water actively during live stream. We'll see how, I have no reference for these clouds, so I'm just kind of winging it. So we'll see how this turns out, y'all. But if you mean the paint, I hydrate the paint, I guess, in a way. This medium is, it's with oil, not with water. You add, that just allows it to flow more smoothly, basically. Okay. Let me take a little, see if I can do a little think that's a, we'll take a little red. We're going to take a lot of white. Take a tiny bit of yellow, very little bit. Okay, now what we need to do is take even more white. See if we can. This might be too much, but let's see if we can start. That's way too much yellow, I think, but it'll give us a start. This will give us some idea what we're doing. I'm going to take some of this and just bring it over. And if we go straight horizontal as we get closer to the horizon line, then it looks, as we get closer to the horizon, we always do, they're always flatter clouds. These cumulus ones are the ones that appear to go up over our heads. So we'll just kind of do that and see. That might give us at least a basic outline and we'll bring these all the way down to the horizon line. There. All right, now I need to decide, what I'm going to do with this. I don't know what, maybe a little, is it a little more reddish color? It's a sunny day, so we don't want to take it too dark, but this, what I'm looking for is a cloud shadow color. I think I need to cool it down a little bit. Okay, we'll see. This is all an experiment. It's what you get when you watch someone who doesn't know really what they're doing, or they're trying to figure it out. Oh, that's it. Yep, we want to bring a little more. Yeah, we want kind of a grayish, cool grayish color. So that you have these. You want the color of the clouds, the bright color, but then you want the color underneath that is reflecting kind of the ground. And we'll have to kind of smith this a little bit. but it'll start to give us an idea of the frame of reference. It'll start to give us a feeling of those clouds. Okay. And it'll start to give us a All right, we've got a good start. We've got the basic shape, and we'll just let that sit for a minute. And it does add, putting some clouds in those skies, I think really adds to the ambiance of the, or the composition of the piece. I see a few more people have joined. Welcome, welcome. Please feel free to engage wherever you're watching in the comments. I enjoy having you ask questions or comment as you watch. No bad question. Hey there, Mom and Dad. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you as always. Okay, I'm going to put in this really dark shadow over here. This is the closest to us, so therefore, and the tree shadows are typically the darkest that we're going to have on the trees that are standing up closest to us are going to give us the okay. Dad is watering, keeping an eye on the grill. Oh, sounds good. That's what I smelled from down the hill. I'm just joking. One of my neighbors was grilling the other night, last night I think, and I smelled it. And I was like, oh, maybe they were celebrating the end of the rally. Okay, now, so there's going to be, let me put this in there too, kind of we'll do some in-between trees that are kind of halfway back. Okay, so we have this bunch up here. That's where the deepest shadows are going to be. Now, as we go back, they get a little lighter. What we want to do, I think I'm going to take a smaller wedge angle brush like that and just start to put in these because eventually these will go lighter as we put color around them, but it helps us to start to see and we'll just start putting some suggestions of light and dark spots. Of course, down here closer, we're going to have more we'll just kind of say that's how that hill goes off into the distance. There we go. Okay. Now, there, see how just putting a little bit of that in starts to give us that sense of the hillside. And we'll, down here, we'll start putting in some sideways shadows so that we have that feeling of there we go. Now let's see. Okay, we have our shadows in for now. Let's set aside our shadow brushes and see if we can bring back, okay, that was my original drawing brush. Now I think what I want to do is maybe, take also a dagger brush or a angle brush, and now we want to mix our yellow ochre and ultramarine blue. This will give us a little bit of burnt umber. This will give us a mid-tone brown, or a mid-tone green. Now, with this green, what we want to do is begin to go over some of those dark spots. This will give us, begin to bring some tone into those values. By desaturating, is that the word? Desaturating, thank you. These greens, we move them back into the, because if we do really bright green, it's going to pop forward really fast. So we don't want to do that, obviously. We want to keep those saturated greens and bright greens for this foreground that's right in front of us. The reason for that is our eye perceives red, orange, yellow, green. So therefore reds and oranges and yellows fall out of our perceivable spectrum faster than greens, blues, and violets. That's why in the distance things look blue. The Great Smoky Mountains look blue. The Black Hills look black or blue when they are in the distance, because our eye, what our eye perceives, drops out faster, if that makes sense. That's one of those things I learned early on, which makes total sense, but I never thought of it that way. So I'm going to bring a little bit of yellow back into this, just so I can put some spots of sunlight or appearance of sunlight in these. And it's going to be very subtle, but it's basically just giving me almost a paint by number to follow. Like, oh, that's where the sun is hitting. And you start to see these layers pop out of the background very subtly. And then as I come forward, I can use that same match, same kind of to bring a little bit more of this forward. Then we start to see some of these more of these pop in front of our, so they come forward a little bit. Then down here we want to definitely now I want to take some of this yellow and mix it in with this green. This will give me color harmony. And I want to start to bring these flat spots forward a little bit because they are getting the direct sunlight direct down, so they're gonna reflect a little bit even more. So we're kind of given an underpainting here, but it also gives us a as long as we hold on to the right values, it gives us a real good idea of what's happening. Okay. Then we can go back in and tighten some of this up. Make it even more cool. Cool meaning not cool in color, but interesting. We want to take kind of this shadow color back into this grass at the edge of the pond. some browns into that still. Now we want to take a, let's see, vamos a hacer, okay, let's take, and this reflection, depending where it is a bright ochre, basically, or a kind of so we kind of have both sides, and you can't really see what I'm doing, can you? Oh, the glare is right on there, but it's basically, oh, maybe a little bit, so you can see the light brown to the dark brown. And what we want to do then is go in with these lighter colors and put in like where light is shining brightest. And it's going to be on this right hand side of the water where the sun is hitting most directly, reflecting right off. And we have some on this side that's kind of that. Bluer color. It's hard to tell if that is a creek or a path right now. But that's what I'm going to have to work on. So I want to actually go back in kind of my medium green, I'm putting in an underpainting basically that will give us some kind of mid-tone green, and then probably in another session we'll come back in and put in highlights But I think right about here in the bend is where I want the detail to start coming in. So right about here is where I'll start doing the strokes up and down, because then I want it to be more like flat here, and then all of a sudden we start to see detail of grasses and whatever going there, if that makes sense. So start. This is more just a cue to me than to, it's not really visible right now, but we'll put this mid-tone here. Then we'll be able to come back and put in, and we'll really have something to the that the highlights can play off of, or that can really shine against, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see now. Let me see if I can get this green sufficiently out of this brush. Then let's take this, or maybe even over here, take some white. There, sort of there. Gives us again the underpainting. Bright brown, and we can do kind of a there's kind of it gives us the idea of what we're going for. Want some more. I'll refine that detail work, but it's starting to appear. Yes, so all right, now I think I want this same. This is where we're going to put that fence line, but that will be one of the last things to go in. And let's see. I'm gonna get more efficient with brush use eventually. All right, y'all, the underpainting is coming together. I like this, having this dark patch moved forward a little bit in the composition, as well as having the stream wrap back into the space. So Okay, I'm just super curious, so I'm gonna try something. Just because I'm curious. Cobalt blue. I'm just mixing some different greens. I want to see what happens with cobalt blue and okay. Get kind of a dark blue or a dark green. Back in there. I'm just messing around because this is all underpainting, so I'm just trying to learn a little bit about what kind of greens I can create with what I have on my palette. Okay. This may not show really on your screen much, probably. At all. Because these are all variations of shades of green, but it will give us, all these little layers will give us some very cool should give us some very cool layers of different colors in the grass, so that it feels more like a meadow and less like a curated lawn. Wonder All right, that gives us quite a bit of information on the underpainting. I wonder, the only thing, I wonder if I can go back and do some critical, like, is this a shadow? That looks good. Wonder if I can do some of this shadow, re-establish some of the dark spots. We'll see. It's hard to do because there's this paint already on the and so it already kind of desaturates that dark just because it's going over other colors. But we'll have to figure out how to make this render more like a stream and not like a path. But we'll get there. Hey Bob G, so good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, I am pleased with how it's coming together, just this underpainting, especially if we can kind of in a second layer can kind of work some of this out, put more definitive details in. That is gonna work real well, but doing a little, some of this kind of gives the illusion of detail. There we go. Let's see. I probably should step back from this totally. Give it a little breather. Let me step back. Yeah, I like the composition of this a lot. I'm really glad I added the clouds up there. I'll have to kind of finesse those because I don't really have a reference for them. But also popping that, I think we made a couple of good decisions here. Popping this bunch of trees forward, because they actually are a bit further than the mountain in the background, I think really makes you want to go in, and then winding the creek out toward the here a little bit and bringing it in kind of almost like an S-shaped, kind of draws us in, because we come in this way, our eye, it hits this, goes back over here, hits that, goes back over here, hits this, comes up, and then it kind of does this loop. So I think inadvertently, well, not completely inadvertently, but sort of inadvertently, we've stumbled across a composition that really works. I might be ruining this. I don't know. I'm probably ruining it. Feels like I'm ruining it. Maybe not. I don't know. Little by little. Here we go. There. Okay. Oh, let me step back. And I'm going to move y'all back so you can kind of see not my messy studio, but kind of what it looks like straight on. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see how it is. I wonder if this makes it. Nope. Yeah. I like the composition here. I think it's going the right direction. It makes me, this feels like, or is beginning to feel like how it felt in that meadow. Like you just wanted to like explore, like go all the way back in there and explore. So I'm really happy with how the composition feels right now. And adding those clouds was, yeah, I think was a really good decision. Now I just need to flesh them out a little bit. Makes me really happy when I look at this. So the rest is, if we can keep the good composition, the good value balance, then the rest is going to be, is going to be detail work. So let me actually go in here. I think that's it, what we'll do for tonight. Then we'll let it dry a little bit, and then we will come back and do some detail work. I'll bring you all back to my the camera here. Let's take this down. There we go. Thank you all for sticking with me this evening. It has been quite a pleasure having you all. I hope that you had a great week and will have a wonderful week. Let me see. Next week, let me see what I have, because I can't remember if I have something going on next Monday. Yes, next week, that's what I thought, is my sister and brother-in-law are going to be in town, so we will not have a live stream next week. I think it's like the 19th or 20th, but we will pick up the week after that. So let's see, let me go back here. All right, yeah, I want to say thank you. Super pleased with the direction this one is going. Happy with the underpainting. So you all can't really see, but you can kind of, just that bad light, that orange light from overhead. Ugh. But I appreciate you joining me. Those of you who popped in, popped out, those of you who have been here the whole time. It's been great being with you again in the studio. Again, next week, no live stream, but we will pick up the following week, which should be, if it's the 19th, it should be like the 28th-ish, 26th of August. So the last Monday of August, we will be back in the studio. So that said, I want to wish you all a good evening. I hope you have a great week. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Take care, everybody. Good night.